Senate Judiciary Committee holds hearing on federal judicial ethics process.
And Mr. Lee, I worked closely with your father when he was the Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Division, and I was Attorney General Levy's liaison to him. I think your father would have been very disturbed by the matters that I've addressed, A, and B, would have engaged, and I would have thought that members of the Senate from both parties would be concerned about whether the judiciary and anybody else was properly
Seriously?
interpreting
Seriously? You're going to bring up my dad? You're here attacking a member of the United States Supreme Court on grounds that are frivolous, on grounds that have been rejected by two different iterations of the Judicial Committee that you're talking about. Twice rejected, and you have the audacity to come in here and invoke the memory of my late father? It's shame on you, sir. Okay, look, you submit a statement to this committee. It's a lengthy statement. Contains 122 footnotes. On page 2, you state that you're testifying, quote, as an individual and not as a representative of the Judicial Conference of the United States or the federal judiciary, close quote. Did your law clerks help you draft this?
Yes.
Who else helped you draft it? Who else was involved in the drafting of it?
Just my law clerks, although I did consult one of my colleagues about it.
Okay, so you're not here on behalf of the conference, and yet you used judicial resources to do it, and you consulted one of your colleagues to do it, and you're speaking solely in your capacity as someone who served on the committee, and so you're purporting to speak for the committee.
No, I'm not. I said I'm speaking. When I was invited first to be interviewed, I thought by Senator Kennedy, who declined to meet with me, but I did meet with his staff. And then when I was invited to testify, I immediately informed the Administrative Office of United States Courts. I was familiar with the guidance, again, not public. The judges are free to speak. The Canon 4, as you saw when you read my piece, encourages judges to speak on matters relating to the administration of justice when they have experience or expertise. And the only thing that the administrative office said to me was, be sure to point out that you're testifying as an individual, which I had already done in what I was drafting. And if I wanted any ethical guidance, it mentioned who to call.
Okay.
But
Senator Durbin?
I'm sorry, are vividly clear, and there wasn't any open issue on which to consult.
Yeah.
Senator Durbin.
Yet you're here speaking in that capacity based on your service on that committee, notwithstanding the fact that your motion to have it considered by the full conference as to your suggestion that Justice Thomas's disclosures were willfully wrong was rejected.
Senator Durbin.
Wow, this conversation is painful to watch. Two things. This judge, right, that's what he is, sitting there bloviating, talks about Mr. Lee's late father and how disappointed he would be. That is disgusting. Okay, that is sick and twisted and disgusting. Clearly, this person is an absolute partisan actor trying to shame someone by using their dead father. Okay, that's disgusting. Next, he's talking in his capacity, basically, let's say what it is, as a layperson. But when he's asked, did you consult anybody? Did you use your law clerks? Yes, I spoke with one of my colleagues, and my law clerks wrote this. So you're using resources, public resources, to try to shame someone in an official capacity? Does that seem normal or ethical or proper? No, it doesn't. And that's why we're living in such terrible and divisive times. If you feel so strongly just because someone is perceived to be a Republican or a conservative, you think you're untouchable and you can do absolutely anything. But when the shoe is on the other foot, you can sit there and shame a conservative, and they're held to a completely different standard. We see this time and time again, top to bottom, left to right. Look at, in New York, just the first example that comes to mind is Daniel Penny, who is now going to take the stand and stand trial in New York City for ending a life on the subway of someone who was harming and hurting women and children and people that were riding the subway, yet he is the criminal? He is the criminal? We live in a world where justice has been completely turned on its head, and what's right is wrong, and what's wrong is right. And that means we are not functioning as a democracy or a constitutional republic as we actually are. But no, this man can sit here in front of the Senate and talk about someone's late father and use judicial resources in his personal capacity? Wow. Really messed up. So glad this man, Mr. Lee, gave him the business because he deserved it.